Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Thanksgiving edition of the What Do You See Anime Podcast. For us Americans, the time is approaching where we get to put on colorful cardigans and indulge in turkey-covered gravy and become gluttons with various delicious side dishes, all under the banner of love and camaraderie. On today's episode, along with my co-host Miles, we'll be going over the wonderful things that we are thankful for in the realm of all things anime. Could be something real from the heart or something completely unhinged. Anything really is on the table. Let us know what you are thankful for, whether it's anime related or not, in our comment section on YouTube or Spotify or in our Discord. Links to everything can be found in the description below. Miles, I want to say thank you for joining me. This will be the first time we ever done like a Thanksgiving themed episode, I think. So I'm very intrigued to see what you are thankful for, because ahead of time, we don't know what each other have put down. So I'm really excited to see if you go the funny route or the serious route.
Well, I want to put a rule on here, Pete, because I was brainstorming, with my wife, and she was like, "Well, just say you're thankful for like the podcast and the community and everything." And I said, "No, that is stupid. Everyone will pick that." And so here's the rule, Pete: if you pick that, I get to shoot you in the face with a gun.
With a gun?
With a gun.
What? Can we tone it down a little bit, because I may or may not have reference
I get to shoot you in the face by flicking a paper football at you next time I see you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair. Or you could do we could play how like in Thanksgiving, I don't know if this is like this when you were a kid, but we always played like.
Hey, I like that. I like that idea.
Okay. I will abide to these rules. Whether I follow them or not, we'll see. But for right now, I will be agreeing to what you said. But this should be fun. We each wrote down like 5 things that we're thankful for, whether, it could be silly, fun, serious stuff about anime and like what's going on in our world with anime. And I think I'm going to kick things off with us with the first thing I'm thankful for is for everybody who likes, comments, or subscribes to the YouTube channel or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That is a joke. But I am kind of half serious. I am thankful for everybody who does do that, because it's the easiest form of promotion. But for real talk, one thing I am super thankful for in the anime sphere that I just love how it's set up is seasonal formatting for anime. Like, I love having a schedule for shows. I love that every 3 months we're going to get a new wave of shows. And then on those new waves, I know I'm going to have a show that airs on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And that type of structure, it has completely changed how I watch shows in general. I have a very hard time binging shows now. I have become the old man in being a little stubborn, where I'm like, I can't watch that show. Today's Friday. I have to watch my Friday shows first. How dare you ask me to watch this show when that show airs on Thursdays? But something about it, I don't know if it's like an OCD thing or like an ADHD thing, something going on in my brain, but I just love the fact with that, knowing that tomorrow is Tuesday, that I'm going to have my Tuesday shows. So that is one thing I'm very thankful for anime.
So I have something similar, though different. So I'll mention that when I get to it. However, as someone with OCD and ADHD, while I do love the seasonal format in many ways, I have to say it is horribly anxiety-ridden for me.
100%. Because
when I add things to a schedule, my inability to get through a schedule because of my various mental conditions, that's why I have to take a lot of seasons off, like almost every other, because like my brain just needs a breather. This season I'm only going to get to like 3 or 4 shows probably, and I'm sad about that, because like there's good banger, like I wasted time watching Summer. But like, it was just how, I know. It was like how it worked out. And so, I do like it, but there's so much of it nowadays that like, when I'm writing out a schedule, sometimes I'll just be like, you know what, I can't do it. It's too much.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. One thing with it though is like, one of the things that we gravitate towards with this is like having the conversations around the shows that we're watching. Yes. And then we get the time sometimes where it's like, okay, well, guess what? There's 11 shows airing on Saturday. I want to talk about them, but like, which one do I watch first? Which one do I watch? Which one do I push off until Sunday? Oh no, they're already talking about it in the Discord. I have to watch it now. And like, that's the anxiety it gets to me, especially as somebody who runs the server. it's like, oh shit, everybody's talking about X show, and they're like, I'm 2 episodes behind. No, and so it does have like this level of anxiety of wanting to get through, so many shows, and so many people have different tastes. So it's like, I want to watch what people are watching because like I love the conversation, but sometimes it's like a show that I don't necessarily like gravitate towards. Like right now, this currently airing season, like Love Live Superstar. There's like 4 people in our Discord. It's like this is their #1 show of the season. I'm like, I wish I could talk about it, but I gave up on Love Live like 5 years ago. So like it's one of those things where like it gives me anxiety where like I want to communicate with the people that are involved with us, but at the same time like not having the time to like actually get through it. And you actually have responsibilities unlike me, so I can't even imagine the level of stuff that you have to go through. But for me it's just like, oh no, which show do I watch first?
Yeah, I mean, and when I'm watching stuff, that's like a thing too, because I tend to go show I like least to show I like most, but sometimes I feel like that creates like a negative feedback loop where I start getting angry at shows because like I just watched a show I didn't like, and so now every little thing bothers me, So it's good
Mm-hmm.
to like mix it up sometimes. But I don't know, I do like the seasonals because of the orderly nature of them, and you can look forward. You can go, okay, in 4 or 5 weeks, what do I get to look forward to that's new? And you just always know that you're getting like a rotation, right, of shows, um, at this like sort of quarterly interval. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's good because there's always something to look forward to, which is
Yes,
important.
absolutely. All right, Miles, what's something that you're thankful
You know?
for?
So the first one, this is the first one I thought of, and I wrote this down. I am thankful for Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
Wow.
Yes, for a few reasons. Now, if you were to go to my Mal and you were going to look up season 1 of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, I think I gave it a 2. Let me let me do a little
No, it
quick.
wasn't that bad, was it? I feel like you
I
gave it like a
hated that
4. I
show.
thought you gave it like
Did
a
I give it a 4?
4. Because
I
yes, it
might
was
have.
an advert for the gotcha game itself, and then the story came second. Like I get that, but a 2?
I gave it a 4. Okay, I
Okay,
did give it a
okay, that's
4. I
way more
didn't
reasonable.
I didn't really care about the advert side. To me, it was just like how the logic in the world was bizarre. And like it broke my little brain. But there are a few things that I think this series has done, and it's similar to you picking something like Higurashi for like a foundational like piece of media for you, just because of the your surroundings, right?
Sure.
So, like I thought the war between Uma Musume and like whatever franchise we were going against was super fun for a long time. It probably did overstay its welcome around month 9 or 10, but there was a period of time that it was really fun. The sort of like the camaraderie around it, even though there were like two sides, was good. I think that the episode that we got to do was fun, and then we got to watch Uma Musume Pretty Derby season 2, which is just like a good show. So I'm thankful to the series because it sort of taught me that maybe some more of these. It makes me more likely to try something like Bang Dream I Go, if that makes sense, right? Like you watch season 1 of Bang Dream, you don't really like that. You see these other people talking about how good it is, and you're like, it's probably just not for me because this other instance of it is not for me.
Yep.
But this is sort of like the proof case, Uma Musume, that these mostly standalone gotcha game anime have the ability to have like hidden gems within the 27 seasons they put out a decade. um, you know, and so yeah, I'm thankful for it for that reason as well. So I think it's just sort of like brought a lot of joy to our community, like one way or the other, which I'm appreciative of. And I think it's taught me a lesson about franchises and not to judge one entry in a franchise based on another entry in that franchise, because one data point isn't necessarily good enough, as Musume taught me. What do you think about this selection from me?
I'm not gonna lie, you had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie that I knew that we were gonna throw in some jokes here, but I didn't think that you would actually throw in something like Uma Musume. So, props to you for throwing that in. That was really fun, and I agree. I think there's a few shows that like especially for Watch Club when it's more of like a group dynamic that like really I think solidify us as like some shows that people could point to as like maybe like favorite moments of the podcast. And I think Uma Musume was an arc that I didn't think anybody saw coming into the levels that it was. For reference, it was a show that was nominated in our podcast for something like 8 or 9 months. It took that long for us to watch the first season, and then Miles ups the second season and wins in like 2 weeks. And so it's like, of course, when Miles nominates it, it wins super fast. But it was one of those shows where I think that like looking back at it, like those were some of the funnest moments that we had discussing shows. Like the ones that come back to me are like Link Click, Perfect Blue. You missed it, but like Daily Life of High School Boys. There's a few episodes that I can think of that like really.
I was there for that one.
Oh, okay. I know there was like we were missing somebody on that episode. I forgot who it was. We've done like 300 episodes. I can't remember all.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So like, I would say I'm definitely thankful for like those styles of shows, and Uma Musume being one of them.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And I wanted to throw in a show that like it wouldn't seem like I would be thankful for, but like you can learn lessons even from like things that you're not a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a little hint to like not judge a book by its cover. And I think it's like a valuable anime lesson. You know what I mean? If you've
100%.
watched one season of Precure and you didn't like it, but you hear something good about the next one, maybe give it a go if it's still intriguing to you in some way. Okay, Pete, what's our number 2 thing that you are thankful
I love
for?
that one. Okay, so this one comes with experience in the anime sphere, also just in general in life, where when you get older, you find different things more and more, I'm gonna say sexy. Like, but when we were growing up, like, don't get me wrong, when it comes to like anatomy, we all like the same things, but there's certain things that like really draw me now, more like, the passion, the experience, the knowledge of something that's like, that's a different level of sexy that I didn't really find sexy when I was 21, but when I turned 31, it's a completely different thing. And when I'm 41, who knows where it's going to go. So my second thing that I'm thankful for is sexy old people in anime. I was cracking myself up with that one.
I had no idea where that was going to go. When you said, first off, part of your sentence was we all like the same things when it comes to anatomy, which is like the falsest statement ever
okay,
made.
I meant me and you. That's what I meant. That was like the general whole of like everybody. Obviously, everybody has different tastes.
It's like,
Oh.
like no,
okay. No, you are correct. Everyone, that's not true. That would be a false statement. But
how old are we talking about? Like,
I'm talking gray hair. I'm talking gray hair. I'm talking.
Is this like Dan to Dan
or
whatever?
So guess what? Guess what has inspired this one is Psycho from Dan to Dan, who the whole. I was worried. Because like Momo and Down to Dawn is a Gairu, and they dress a little bit promiscuous at points. And I was like, oh no, she's going to get looted the shit out of it by the community. And she is. But not as much as Psycho. And at least Psycho is a grown-ass woman. So that reignited me of like thinking of all of the hot old people that I have seen throughout the years that I am thankful for that is represented in anime. So I want to give a shout out to a few. So we said Psycho from Down to Dawn, who is the grandma. Currently airing this season is in Delico's nursery, Johannes. He is a grandfather. He is like a military general. He cares for his grand people. I forgot. I don't know the word that's coming to my head. I forgot. Masako from Blue Period. She's the art teacher at their high school. Yes. And Hajime, Rin's grandpa from Laid Back Camp. He drives a motorcycle. And he's like a lone wolf style of guy. And I really like that aesthetic from like the old grandpa who's retired and just like living his life and chilling with his granddaughter and tour in Japan. So I gotta give a shout out to my thankfulness for sexy old people.
I don't know how to continue that. I mean, I think that is amazing.
Thank you.
When considering things that you might talk about, like I had seasonals in mind, right? So I have like talking points for that. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know you pretty well. I gotta say, I did not come up with a list of sexy old people in anime for me to talk about, and that's on me.
Is there anyone
I
that
should.
comes to mind though? Like one that comes to mind?
I don't. Well, I'm just so taken aback right now that I think my brain is frozen. So I
Mm-hmm.
will keep pondering, but I don't think. Do they? Yeah, you know what? Confidence is
It
sexy,
is.
right? You don't need to be physically attractive to be sexy. I'm gonna say the grandma from Ping Pong.
You know what?
Uh,
I was actually thinking you're gonna say that because it's like the only person you have favorited on Mal.
yes, and that is. I mean, like wood.
Do I
You
dare
know?
say based?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's implied.
I love it. I love that pick. I love sexy old people. It actually stemmed. We had like a question of the day in our Discord. It was like, who is the sexiest like old person in anime? And I had to think about it. Like, I was like, I love so many sexy old people in anime. So I thought I'd be thankful for the representation that we get, and thankful for this season with Psycho from Don because she is, yeah, she's something all right. Miles, what
Yeah,
is before I get a little bit too randy? I don't know if you have final words or if you want to go to your second one.
I could go to my second one.
Okay.
I'm trying to pick like the ordering here. So I'm gonna do something that ties into your first one like a
Okay.
little bit, I think. And this will sound sarcastic, but it's not. I
Uh,
am thankful for the never-ending backlog.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So every season, 50 anime come out, and there's maybe 10 to 30 you want to watch depending on who you are. And it's hard to keep up with them all. Even if you're like Pete and you're chugging through things, occasionally one or two are gonna fall through the cracks, and you have to sort of catch up on it. And then also there's all of these from like just anime going back into the 80s and stuff that are to watch. And so while it can be anxiety inducing, I do know that whenever I have some free time, whatever I'm in the mood for, except for horror,
Same.
I can find an anime out there to fill that void, and I'm thankful for that. You know what I mean? If I need something actiony, I can find that. If I want something calm and like a healing anime, that is there. If I want to just watch something mindless, I can do that. There's so many, different options that are made all the time, and it's impossible to keep up forever, at least for me. And so I always know there's something that I can get to watch and enjoy. And there's whole new avenue. I hadn't watched a Gundam until like 2 years ago. And now I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And now I have all of these, shows to watch. So there's just, because of this never ending backlog, there's always new things to find, things that are similar of what you like to find. I still haven't watched Steins Gate, been saving that one. I don't know. What are your thoughts there, Pete?
I think this ties into like the anxiety of like seasonal formatting with the double-edged sword, where if you want, you can essentially find an anime of anything that you want to watch. Like you said before, if you want to find something healing, guess what? There's 400 of them. You want to watch some robots fighting? Guess what? There's 600 of them. The problem is though, there's 600 of them, and you want to consume them all. So
Yes.
it's this double-edged sword of what do I choose first? What do I consume? And with us, with wanting to discuss it or talk about it and let our voices be heard, it's like, okay, do I pick this one because someone else has seen it, or do I pick this other one because it has a cool like PV art or something along like those lines? So I totally get it. It's going to tie into my next one. So I 100% get what you're saying.
Yeah, I love it. It's just there's something like there are some goals that I like to finish, right? And if they get out of uh, control with how much effort it requires, is like a downer for me. So like I'm collecting one copy of like every magic card that's an angel, and so I want that to be finishable at like certain periods of time. Anime though, I'm happy with it not being. There's always something to do, and I don't need to be able to finish every anime. I just need to have something be there for me if I am in the mood to watch that type of thing, and I think it does it for me.
Hell yeah. Yep. Okay, so that's all tied into my number 3, which is I'm thankful for just opening up my eyes to the world of what is available for us. So I see a lot of people like complain about like how oversaturated the market is with anime. But I view it as like a different thing where it's like so we have access to so many different stories where something mainstream might not be appealing to somebody else, but we have so many different options that they can find something that they like. And that's what I really love about the quote oversaturation of the market of anime, because I am somebody like, I love every genre of anime, except for like horror is something like I don't actively search out, but it's not like something I like hate. Same thing with like ecchi or harem, where it's like I don't actively search it out, but if it's good, I'll watch it. There's like two good harem shows, but like if they exist, I'll watch them. And so like I love that we have all of these options in this sphere where like I feel like with like live action TV, we have way more options now with streaming services, especially with something like Netflix, where different regions have like, I would say like meta for like TV series, but like it's sad like the US meta for live action TV is like NCIS and like these shows that are like very made for, I don't know, 65-year-old grandmas who left CBS on after watching Wheel of Fortune. But then if I wanted to, I could find like a K drama and then really enhance like what we have in the sphere, because now we have access to that. But like I feel like each certain like territory has like a meta with live action. With anime, I feel like we kind of have that, but in the medium that I prefer. So I'm just really thankful that we have so many different options, and that also leads to so many different options with manga, since most of these are light novels if that's your thing, but for me specifically it's manga, and having the option of continuing the stories that I love uh readily available. So like I'm thankful for like all of those different aspects that comes into consuming this media. I don't know if you have anything more to say about that, since we kind of had like the same thing, but like it is
Yeah,
something that
no,
I like a lot about it.
I think that that's like a very good important thing. Like as I was just talking about, right? Like I had never watched a Gundam, and then I did because the PV for Witch from Mercury like really caught my eye, and that made me watch Iron Blooded Orphans, and then like 79, and then Zero Gundam Double O. I don't know how people say it. That one. I'm watching like Zeta right now, right? And like that's something that I probably would have never watched without stumbling upon shows in this sort of like never-ending seasonal churn. And sometimes there are things like a villainous show where I'm like still searching, but like luckily 74 come out a season.
Yeah.
So I'm
The
bound
meta,
to find it
yeah.
eventually. Yeah,
That's what I mean,
I
like the meta, where like we
yes,
get these spurts of like, we had like the isekai meta. Now we're in the villainous meta, where it's like every season we're getting something along those lines.
yeah, exactly. And there are it wanes and stuff, but you still
Yes.
get things that you're looking for. And if you see something sort of propping up, coming up, it's worth giving it a try. And then maybe you find like this new niche for you to look into.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, next one for me.
Do it up.
Cool. Yeah. So the third thing that I am thankful for is the haters. Um,
Ooh, go on.
so there's a few ways that I'm gonna take this. If anyone listened to our recent Devilman Crybaby episode, I had multiple friends text me about it actually, but one in particular was said like, "How did you stay so calm?" And I did that through like 75% of the episode. They hadn't got to the last
Yeah, the last
quarter.
part.
Like during this when like when you were having this discussion and everything, and I was like, never thought I was wrong once, so why wouldn't I be calm? And I kind of like that aspect of the community where, I mean, we kind of met Pete because I just showed up hating on Rising of the Shield Hero,
Yep.
and people can have like back and forths about things, right? There are shows that I love that you don't like the Alia thing we had in our recent like
Yeah.
review. Right, that was like a fun back and forth. So by the haters, I kind of mean the differing opinions that people have in the community, because I think that engagement is fun as long as it's kept, in sort of a jovial tone, where we can rag on each other's like trash taste and everything. I think that's fun. I love competition. I like the idea of like fighting and like presenting an argument for why the show you like or I like or whatever is good and better than this other show, and it's like the shows are actually more or less the same. Um, like it's just the personal
Yeah,
differences,
100%.
yeah, and so I just enjoy that dynamic of the anime thing where people are arguing over if Rei or Asuka is best girl and hating on each other's opinions for that 3 decades after that show comes out. I think that's super fun. And then I also like when people leave us negative comments on the YouTube videos. One, it helps the algorithm. Two, most of the time it's very clear they didn't watch
Yeah.
the video, and that brings. I know you can get upset about that, but I derive joy from that. I don't know why, but it was just like someone saw us and was so moved to say their thing that they wrote it without paying attention. And I like getting that sort of reaction from people. So all types of haters, including myself, including you, Pete, and including some people in the YouTube comments. I'm thankful for them.
I think you said best when you said when it's jovial, it's
Yes.
it's fine. There are some times where it's like when you say something about like a show that you didn't enjoy, and people are taking that as like a personal attack on your livelihood, then it's just like no, I'm not talking about you, but they associate with like a show so much. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it can get out of hand. It's one of the reasons actually why I stopped like interacting on like Twitter so much was because like if I had a differing opinion compared to somebody else, even if you bring logic and examples, it doesn't matter. But like when you have like a fun environment like we have, I think it creates something where like we can kind of just like bounce off each other and like poke fun because like I mean that's what friends do. Like my best friend, like I always give him shit, but like it's because we're friends. It's like I would never
Yeah.
like actually be mean to that person. So I
Yeah,
like
and
that.
like hating on the show I think is cool. Hating on like the fans or whatever
Yeah.
is not like what you want to be doing, right? So like when we're arguing about something, we know that like I know you don't hate me or my opinions. You just don't like Higurashi, and like that I have my issues with Violet Evergarden, but I understand why you like it and like come from it. But I like to poke fun
Yeah.
at the
100%.
fact, So, I like that whole dynamic in the community as long as it's done well. Sort of the pompousness of being like, yes, my taste is so refined. Like
Yes.
anytime
Exactly.
you say something and I'm like awful take, and then you point, you're just like never missed,
Yeah.
or like
It works every time.
every time,
Like you're
and
wrong
like
about this. Be like, that's funny because I've never been wrong ever.
I'll say something, you point out how I'm wrong, and I'll say agenda over
Yep.
facts, and then you're just like,
Trump card.
damn, you got me.
You got it. You won.
um, and that is the attitude that I kind of enjoy. So this had evolved from me thanking both Blue Lock and Haikyuu for existing so that I could fight with
Yeah.
people about
Yeah.
them, to just being the haters of anything in general.
Mm.
It's-
Though I do gotta say, with like YouTube comments and like Spotify comments, that's like the other area where I think that's where I have like my issues with sort of like poking fun because like I don't know these people and I
I
can't.
think that's super sane. I think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want all the smoke all the
Yeah,
time.
because as somebody who's like, over the course of like 5 years, I've gotten like really nice, sincere messages, and you can tell when they're like it's from I don't know if it's from the heart, but like it's really nice and like it makes my day. And then whenever it's something like negative, I think it's just like the internet like gaslighting me into thinking that if anytime somebody says something negative about like me, you, anybody on the podcast, something like that, it's out of like pure malice, and it's just because I don't know these people. So like, if you say like, oh, I mean, recently it was like we had some stuff like with somebody leaving comments, and like I don't know if they're joking, but like having a hater is kind of cool, like
Right? That's
legit.
what I'm saying.
But like at the same time, I would much rather have like somebody nice. like having a hater is so cool. Like to say that I have an internet hater is super cool. But I'd rather that person, maybe it's just because of like what I like about like being in the sphere, is like I'd rather them just be my friend or like internet colleague or something like that. Like Why can't we just get along? But some people just they just need to voice their opinion that they are correct and that their takes are law. And if we don't coincide, then it just like we're just butting heads. It's the YouTube comments where it's like they'll enjoy 97% of our content, but the 3% that they didn't like is that's what they're going to leave the comment on instead of saying, "Hey, loved your stuff." It's like, actually, what you said about this was wrong because this, and this. It's like, mother effer, we talk for an hour and a half. Sometimes we say things wrong. It's like it happens. So,
Not once have I.
except for you, you've never missed. It's
Oh,
just I don't know. It's just having the experience from like our side versus having like a hater, but it's fun.
yeah,
It's
no,
fun
I
when
mean,
the
I,
hating
I
is
get it.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So
what do we got next, Pete?
so if you're a fun hater, I welcome you with open arms. If you're a actually, just get out of here. Like we don't need you. Thankful thing that I'm thankful for number 4 was this is just comes from stemming from years of like watching anime and seeing the different like types of things that you can do in Japan, especially like the ones that aren't like wizards or stuff like that, where it's like it takes place in like Hamamatsu, like Yuru Camp, or it takes place in like this area of Tokyo and Kyoto and stuff like that, which really kind of ignited me to like actually travel to Japan. And so I'm thankful for anime for my 4th one is just like igniting a new passion for traveling for me. Like I love the idea. I mean, I've been to Japan twice now, and it stems from like yes, my passion for anime and then like learning about the culture and stuff like that through the shows, but never actually like wanting. I guess like before with my other passions, I never like wanted like I was like a huge like League fan, but like I never really had like any aspirations to like go to South Korea for Worlds or something along like those lines. Like it was never something along those levels. But then taking the leap and going to Japan, that was like my I guess technically second international trip, and just really sparking something in me that now I want to. I travel probably 4 or 5 times a year, whether it's like in state or out of the country and stuff like that. But like anime and like me traveling to Japan like really was the start of me wanting to do this as like a passion, not just like sitting at home playing video games. Like let's go explore the world. Let's go see what other cultures have. And I was scared with like, like language barriers and stuff like that, but you never know until you take that first step. And going to Japan was like was an absolute breeze. And now I'm planning for trips for like maybe like South Korea. Funny, I brought up League and then got that going to South Korea. Now I am planning on going to like South Korea, and I want to do like Singapore and like Hong Kong and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would have been doing that if it wasn't for like really diving into anime and like wanting to go visit these sites. Because like when I was in Japan, like I went to Starry Nightclub from Bocchi the Rock. I went to the Your Name Steps. I went to the Higurashi Shrine in Shirakawa. Like all these things where it's like it ignited my passion to do this, and then also I got to experience what I saw in these shows. So I don't know if it's necessarily just from anime that did this for me, but I think this is the main reason of like why I wanted to go out and explore more. I know Miles, you kind of did the same thing with a little bit with Japan, but I guess I don't really know if you're a world traveler or not.
Yeah, so I hadn't left the country until last year around this time, where I went to Germany.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. You went there for the football
yeah,
game.
yeah, which was really fun. But I definitely like traveling. But I guess it's always it's not super easy to get going or whatever. And then I was like trying to build a career and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
um, finally being able to get out has been great. And I went to Japan not specifically because of like my anime fandom or anything, but the anime fandom definitely let me, like, that's how I knew to go to Shirakawa, which was great, right? So like I definitely went as like a Higurashi pilgrimage thing, but it was just really cool to see. It had really good food, the views were great, and it was nice to get into a really rural area. Because most times your first trip to Japan, you're hitting up Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, maybe a town near Mount Fuji. Like, you're doing that sort of thing. So to go a little bit out of the way was nice. Get into the mountains a bit. And I skipped Starry, saw the Your Name stairs, and just got to see some places that you see in anime, which makes it like a little cooler, right? Like uh Fushin, oh my god, the thousand Torii Gate, 10,000 Torii Gate, Fushiniri Inari, Fushi, the 10,000 Torii Gate Shrine, which has a name that I am butchering, is something that I would have gone to and seen and loved regardless. But like seeing it in something like Monogatari or any other thing that takes place in Kyoto makes it like a little cooler, right? Like a little sort of referencey sort of thing. And then for that trip, I learned some Japanese, which helps me understand anime like a teeny bit better. It's like currently at like 1% better, but maybe one day it'll be better,
Yeah.
But like I can understand some things they're saying, understand how it was like translated, and maybe pick up on like a nuance or two. Like the scene in Your Name, we'll just keep using that, where she's talking to her friends when or his friends when she's in his body, and she says like "watashi wa," and they all like look at her, and then she's like "boku," and then they look at her, and then she's like "ore," and they nod yes, and she's like aghast by using "ore" as her personal pronoun. It's something that doesn't really translate into English the way that they did it, and it makes sense the way they translated it. But like, I guess anime wanting to travel to places like Japan, they feed into each other with my ability to enjoy both of them. So, um, I guess I agree.
Yeah. And if you ever have any plans to visit Japan, for the listeners out there, go soon while the yen is pretty weak. It's essentially everything is 30% off over there. So if you have any plans for visiting Japan, I would recommend doing so in the next few years because
If
you,
you are a Gunpla person, you can get $5 high grades.
I don't know what that means, but that sounds awesome.
It is it is good. It's the this is like a high grade. So I paid maybe like 20 US dollar to put this little Lithorith together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if I were to buy this in Japan, it would cost me about like 5 or 6 US dollars.
Okay.
So it's you get a discount.
For all the Gunpla nerds, get over there and bring an empty suitcase and
I
just
did.
stockpile it. Oh, I know you did.
Yep.
All right, Miles, what's your fourth thing that you're thankful for?
Okay. Okay. I picked the final order. I'm gonna say I'm thankful for anime originals.
Ooh.
Um, yeah. So a lot of anime and lots of great anime and lots of my favorite anime are adaptations from different type of media, whether it be manga or a light novel, visual novel, sometimes books, sometimes stage plays. Um, but they're adaptations, and as good as they can be, this sometimes runs into things that bother me like a teeny bit, mostly around pacing and things like that. With manga, you have something that is inherently serialized in Japan, right? Like there aren't a lot of, um, as far as I know, like we would have like graphic novels or whatever that would come out and be like Watchmen, right? Like it's one thing, it's just a graphic novel, it starts, it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Manga tends to keep going for a bit, especially a lot of the popular Shonen Jump series. It's sort of the nature of the beast. And because of this, sometimes you get some arcs that are less exciting than other arcs, while the artist or writer are buying their time trying to figure out the intricacies of like the more important parts. With anime originals, you generally don't have this, and that's why I like that, and I appreciate the risk that's being taken by the studios or whoever doing an anime original, because you're doing Dawn to Dawn as a studio, right? You have this very popular manga, and hey, as long as we execute well, this is going to be a success. We already have this like built-in fan base. If you're doing something original, sometimes it's going to fucking fail, right? You're going to have Wonder Egg priority, where you start off really hot and then it just does not come together. But sometimes you're going to get something like, and this isn't my favorite, but people love it, like Licorice Recoil, right? Where you get this new thing. It's paced pretty well. You don't have to worry about filler arcs or any of that can sometimes happen with serialization. And so I appreciate the risk that happens. A lot of my favorite anime are anime originals. Um, Something like Psychopath, something like Madoka Magica. Um, and I just like those condensed stories that don't go on forever a fair bit. I'm happy with like 12 to 36 episodes. I don't need season 20 of something. I don't mind it, but I don't need it. So I like the idea of people taking risks, developing something that's meant to be animated from its origination. I think is another cool thing. Um, and I just appreciate when people take risks in an industry instead of just producing something that is less risky, even if it'll be popular. What are your thoughts there, Pete?
Yeah, no, that's I actually love that answer or what you're thankful for that one because one thing that I love with stories in general is like not knowing what's coming next. And
Mm-hmm.
when it's an anime original, like I'm not going to be spoiled by somebody posting a manga panel on Twitter or something like that. Like we are all witnessing this. For us, I would say we're all witnessing this roughly at the same time.
Yes.
Um, so something along those lines where we can really get into a story of the unknowns and follow along with it is great. I agree. I think some of the best anime of the last couple years have been anime originals. One that comes to mind, even though this is funny because you brought up Licorice Recoil of you not liking it and me liking it. Same with vice versa with like, or I guess same thing with like Cyberpunk, where I think
Oh yeah.
that was a huge standout in terms of anime that brought people into the sphere. And while based off of the video game a little bit in terms of like I guess style and the world itself, it was more of an unknown going into it, and just experiencing that was awesome. And I'm glad we got to like do an episode on it together as well. But like yeah, Madoka, huge fan of Madoka, and then stuff like I guess mostly turns into like movies. I think a lot of times are more
Mhm.
generally like the anime originals, but I mean like you know with Suzume, Your Name, Weathering with You, like that trilogy that we had with Makoto Shinkai was like awesome, and then there's so many just like anime original stories that like
The
take
Place
the
Further
risk.
Than the Universe is an anime
Yes,
original,
it
right?
is. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, literally the inspiration to the podcast is
Yes.
an anime
Yeah.
original, so
So I
I'm
mean,
thankful for
things that
that.
that some amount of Odd Taxi, right? That was something we all loved. Kill la Kill, something we're a little cooler on, but the community loves. Gurren Lagann, just Evangelion,
Yeah.
right? Like that was such a risk that the studio was like literally they had $1 or whatever. They had to animate the last episode with scraps in a cave like they were Tony Stark, and it built this whole franchise. And so I just sort of like that sort of take. I love stuff like Oshinoko, or whatever these manga adaptations that we're getting that are great. Something like Vinland Saga or whatever. Like I love that stuff, but to me, there's something special about anime originals because it's like the purest form of anime.
mm. I think especially like for Western fans, whenever like Shinichiro Watanabe has something like that, it's like he did Cowboy Bebop, and then what's he doing next? It's like, oh, he did Carol and Tuesday. What's Carol and Tuesday gonna be like? Then he did Metallic Rouge, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Let's back up. And then and now he's doing I think Lazarus, which comes out next year. So it's like the intrigue of knowing that we have like anime originals tied to people, I think is also just so cool. So love it, Miles. Okay, we're going to our last one. I was thinking about doing something that we're not thankful for anime, but I'm gonna keep it lighthearted and nice. There's a
Okay, okay.
there's,
Look, I can come up with one right
well, I
now if
mean,
we want to.
part of it is with my last one, so it's I'm gonna get football kicked, but like most of it was like fun and whatever, but like I didn't want to save the last for like my number 5 is the community itself. So like, sorry, Miles, I broke the rules. But like
You didn't break the rules. You just accepted the
yes, I
consequences.
accepted the consequences. So there's so many. We've touched on it before, but like having like a not even just like our Discord, but just like-minded adults, I would say in general, of being able to talk about this stuff has been such a breath of fresh air. Where other nerdy cultures I've been in have been like horribly toxic. For like reference, I used to play like Magic the Gathering like very competitively. In fact, I played it professionally, and I literally quit because the community was so bad. Like it was the worst. Like if you were a girl playing Magic the Gathering, I can't even imagine the shit you had to go through. Like it was that bad, and at least where I lived, like nobody cared. And I was like, this that was like, but that was like a nerdy culture that I was a part of. And then I was a big League player. You can only imagine what the League community is like. So I'm not even going to touch on that because there's memes on it and it's true. And then when I got into anime, while yes, there are toxic assholes and there are piece of shits and stuff like that, I think when you want to find the people that you like want in this sphere, they're there, and there's a lot of us, and I think it's great where we can come together over whether you've seen 1, 5, 10, you want to get to know more, or you're an expert. We have places where we can meet and talk about stuff, but not only that, but like legit becoming friends. Like, you know, I went to your wedding. I didn't know you until we talked online. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's people that think like we're like we've known each other since like high school. I met you on Discord.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same thing with like
Because I was a hater.
yeah.
That was yeah.
And like that's a thing. I've gone on 2 vacations with Jay. I've gone on 2 vacations with Trent where we've gone to like Vegas and AX and stuff like that. And it's like I think that's really cool where you can like meet up with people that you talk to online daily and they're the same people outside, if not cooler outside, which I think is like is great. People are genuine in this sphere. People are compassionate and they're friendly and they don't like it's not like a sphere where like you need to like be cool. Like I think there's a lot of times where like
Is it?
well, I mean, but I think that's like the beauty of it because like
Yeah, no, I mean I agree.
yeah, it's like a community where it's like I think it's changed over the years, obviously, where it used to be like if you watched anime, you got your ass kicked, but like now it's like really cool. You can go, like, there's 100,000 people cons, and everyone's just like enjoying themselves. And I've never in my 33 years of this life on Earth, I've never had like a community like that or experienced anything even remotely close to what it offers. And like not only there's like a bigger picture with that, but I also think I want to like reel it back for like a second and like the smaller picture as well. Or like having a community with someone like Preston who will go out of his way to help like you make anime Jeopardy questions.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. Trent who offers to edit the podcast. Yes, I pay him, but like he offered to like, hey, if you're looking for whatever, like I would do this. Perfect. I hate editing. Please take this off my hands. Someone like Has, who is a thumbnail artist, and I was like, hey, do you want to commission my thumbnails? And he's been doing it for like 4 years now. So it's like stuff like that where like you see a little bit more than just the Discord username, the Twitter handle. You see like the real person, and I think that's like very rare if that's something that you are interested in, because not everybody's interested in something like that. But like during COVID, where we were stuck inside our houses 23 hours a day, and we were looking for something to do with people that maybe were strangers and now are friends. And so I just think that's awesome. And gonna get a little political here also. Sorry, I'm ranting, Miles, but like in a sphere where people who are of color, trans, gay, whatever, and get ridiculed and publicized for like the wrong reasons, like I do feel like this community is a great spot to like be yourself and a safe spot. That's not perfect, obviously, but like I think it's one of the better ones that you can be that person, and it's definitely a community that I would like to continue to be a part of and preach those practices that like if you are with us, you are safe and stuff like that. And I don't want to get like too emotional about it, but like I do think like with the political climate changing a little bit, that it needs to be said that if you're looking for it, we are more than happy to have people. As long as you're nice, I will accept every single person of any walk of race. I don't care. Just be a nice, decent human being, and we will get along. That's my community rant, Miles. You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, so as much as I was, poo-pooing this at the beginning or whatever and saying it was obvious, like it's obvious for a reason. Like I think we have a great little community. I'm obviously thankful for it. I've made a lot of friends here. We have stuff like our Secret Santas and stuff. We have like community events. It's a lot of fun. You guys get to play games with each other all the time and stuff, and I used to get to do that back before I had a child.
Yeah,
Um,
you have something going on that might be a little bit
Yeah.
more important.
And I think you're talking about it is why something like an anime community or whatever type of community you're looking for can be more accepting than something like the Magic community. Like you go to Friday Night Magic, and I love Magic the Gathering, but like you have to get paired with whoever you get paired with, and maybe they're a dick. But we can curate our anime community, and we can try to make it how we would want to be and as accepting as possible. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think we try to, and I think that is good, because not there's a lot of subsections in the anime fandom that are toxic or whatever, but you can pretty easily ignore those.
100%. If you
Um,
want to, I think
yeah,
that, like, sorry to cut you off real quick, but like, if you put in the effort, you can create something that you want in this sphere. But I think it comes down to like making the effort that you want to. So definitely, I'll just say that I definitely try to put as much effort as I can. And obviously, there's mistakes along the way, and like people I wish I would have banned sooner, and people still give me shit about. But you know what? I learned from those mistakes. So
it's not to be a huge loser, but I've been modding stuff online for a long time, and sometimes someone comes in and you just know it's a matter of time. And, and
it's like you love drama, but like how much of it do you want to give before you
yeah,
have to cut the cords?
yeah, I would have cut that cord immediately,
Yeah,
but
yeah. You know what? I probably should have, but you know what?
but you live and learn.
Let's just not do it
Uh,
again, and we'll be fine.
yeah. Um, it's how we get better. But no, I agree that, and I love our community, and I love being a part of the community, and it's a lot of fun. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't have been doing it for like 5 years or so. So
Oh, speaking of that, speaking of like a community, you were never supposed to be a co-host. Like shit happened, and I just asked you,
yes,
"Hey, would you be interested in taking more roles?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." That was 5 years ago.
I know.
That's
That
nuts.
was
That's crazy.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I generally love our dynamic too. I think you put up with my neuroticism of pitching ideas, and some of them are good and some of them are not, and you'll go down these rabbit holes with me and everything, and you're great at making them happening and like refining them so that they're not insane. Because like I'll explain something to you and it'll be like 7 paragraphs, and you'll just be like, "Can you explain that to me in 1 paragraph?" And
Yeah.
it like forces me to condense the concept.
You've seen Pinky in the Brain, right?
Yes.
So like you're like I remember one episode, like the Monogatari episode, I think you were explaining how like lobsters can essentially live forever.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like pew pew go bang. It's just like we're Pinky in the Brain. Like you have to have the yin and the yang with Miles being 1,000 IQ and me being like 40 IQ. And it's a great dynamic.
It is, because I will get lost in the sauce, and I need someone to just pull me out sometimes and be like, "Dude, what are you? What? It's not that deep. We just watched, whatever." Like,
Oh, the quantum theory of this. Like, Miles, we're watching Bochi, bro.
I fucking wish. If anyone could tell me how Bochi has anything to do with quantum theory, I'll bump it up to a 9. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, I love this community because, especially because we can do these two things, right? There are things where I can go super deep in them and be like, if you look at the anime that inspired it that were written in like 1986 or whatever, and like da 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 da, and then you're just like this, like you have like emotions, and I'm like very jealous of that. You're like, this made me feel things. I'm like, oh,
No,
that's
I
good
cried like
too.
a bitch.
Yeah, it's only theme of King JJ. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just love the community. I love yeah, talking to people, um, and like getting their perspective, because I think we learn a lot about the media we watch. The more people join, right? We get to learn a new thing about stuff. Like we like quick shout out to I want to make sure that oh my god, and I know their name has Eagle in it.
Just say Ice Call Eagle.
Eagle. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, Champ Eagle. Um, and Veronica, who when we were doing like the girls band Cry like period of 2 weeks, like just so much information about the show and how it was made and all that, like really took something that I loved and made me love it even more. and I love that from our community, and I think it's great. It's good. Anything else?
No, I was say, selfish plug. If you want to be a part of that, join our Discord. Very active. I would say I'm definitely the most active there compared to like other social medias. But Miles, did you have a final thing you were thankful for?
I did, and it's so funny to go from this like this heartfelt.
Huge titties, baby. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
thankful for big ass titties.
I thought about it.
I know you did.
Okay, I considered it. But no, my last thing is Mau Mau. I'm thankful for Mau Mau from the Apothecary
I
Diaries.
mean, she's the best, so I get it.
I love Mau Mau. There are a lot of characters in anime that are supposed to be sort of like scientists and science minded and stuff, and they all have their charms. Um, Senku is probably like one people would think of. Um, but Senku is like way too fucking cool to be one.
Sure.
um, and he's more of an engineer, which is not important, but it does bother me. So as someone who I don't know, I just like adore the platonic ideal of Mao Mao. And I don't think we get a ton of that in like media in general. And she's just this character who has a passion for experimentation and like learning, and she's also kind of crazy and socially inept in a way that myself and like all of my colleagues throughout my entire life are. Um, and so I just love her as a character so much. The whole like self experimentation, um, the sort of concept of like testing things on your skin to see how like corrosive they are, and her demeanor and the way that she applies like the scientific method and everything is great. In retrospect, I wish we had let me go first on this last
Sure.
one,
Yeah,
so we
yeah, yeah,
could
yeah.
have ended with that like very sentimental community thing. But I just really want to give a shout out to Mao Mao, um, because I think she is the best.
I mean, we can still
Um,
make it sentimental if you want, because I think it's just like, anime's just characters in general that we just like very resonate with. I mean, I have 4 or 5 of them tattooed on my arm. Like, I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah,
yeah. There
that's
are there are characters that just resonate with people, and you're a huge scientist nerd, and I have guts tattooed on my arm, so obviously, I'm 6'7", super strong and attractive. So we have like the same thing essentially of why we gravitate towards these characters.
yeah. Look, you to guts is me to Mao Mao. Like maybe I'm a scientist, but like it, I'm not like a Mao Mao scientist. Like she's like an ideal at which I strive to reach.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this pure, logical human that like understands thing. I don't know, and just like the whole characterization of her is good. I just really loved the Apothecary Diaries,
It's
and
really good.
it's almost been a year or whatever, and I can't shut up about it still. But I am thankful for it. My wife and I are very, after a certain result of a certain something, um, my wife was doom scrolling, and I was like, one, don't doom scroll, and two, at least we get season 2 of the Apothecary
We got like 8 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks
yeah.
away for season 2.
So it can bring you joy in a dark time, and be that Apothecary Diaries or How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon season 4.
5.
Whatever brings you joy is good. What are we on now? 5?
5.
Okay, cool. I'm on 1, so it is
You could stop there.
okay. Cool.
Yeah. I guess just like bouncing off of what you were saying with like finding joy in these characters, whether like you were looking for something or not, I just think is so great. Like everybody loves Mao Mao. Mao Mao is great. To me, that's like, I guess like my version's probably like Mob, where like I just
Yeah.
love Mob is just like a good boy. I love his admiration. I love his drive. I love his passion for what he does, and like that was a character that really resonated with me of kind of just going with what he was going through and like persevering, and like I love that in characters. But sometimes it could be as silly as something like Mao Mao, and like she's just a bundle of fun and doing some quirky poison stuff on her arm and stuff like that. So I definitely get it. It's something I'm thankful for because, like I said before, I have fucking 5 tattoos of anime stuff on my arm. So like I get it. Like I am super thankful for it because maybe that's another thing I'm thankful for. Anime tattoos based off these characters. So love it. Love your picks. Those were our 5. I was maybe thinking I would think of something during the episode that I would want to spread out, but I think we covered a lot. And I kind of like this idea. Maybe we'll do this again next Thanksgiving if we're both still alive. So I love it. I'm just saying, hey, you never know.
No, you don't. I mean, maybe we'll get isekai.
Yeah. If one of us, if there's not another Thanksgiving episode next year, one of us or both of us have perished. So hopefully that's not the case that we bring out the second edition of this.
I'm gonna make a new rule. If I fucking die before next 2 core week, you guys have to finish Higurashi in honor of me.
I'm already doing Utna, man. Like, how much do you want from me?
I'm dead.
You're
I'm
selfish.
dead
Even when you're dead, you're selfish, bro. God, you always think. Even when you're dead, you're still thinking about yourself, man. Really says a lot about you, man. No, I'm kidding. I'll finish Higurashi and I'll eat some dirt when I go back to Shirakawa Go in honor of you. How about that?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't know why I'm eating dirt, but fuck it.
Yeah, wait, eat the heat of beef, dude.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Shirakawa, get the heat of beef. That shit is amazing. Miles, thank you for joining me. Any parting words to our adoring fan?
Nope. Steve, our adoring fan, I am always thankful for you, man.
Shout, Steve. Love it. Thank you everybody for our first edition of the Thanksgiving episode. Hope this went well. Let us know what you're thankful for. Like I said before, it could be anime related, anything related. It doesn't even have to be something nerdy. It could just be like you're thankful for that food exists and you like food. Who knows? You do something silly like that. But like I said before, if you do like this, please like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. It does really help us since I don't have like a Patreon or something like that. Next week we're doing Rakugo Shinju for Watch Club. Otherwise, if you're here for non-Watch Club stuff, doing something in 2 weeks, we'll figure it out. I want to say thank you, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.